know what is what.
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is of the Living Dead.
All right, should we get started?
Run it.
All right, do it. All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Cult of the Living Dead. Today, we are finally covering Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. For those of you who have been longtime listeners, I'm sure you've heard us mention this movie multiple times as a failed recording from the past. So we're finally going to cover it for the final episode of our Halloween Bonanza. As always, I am your host, The Dale, followed by my two co-hosts, Mr. Saya.
Hello.
And Twan.
What up?
Just a quick reminder for first-time listeners and people returning. We are a cult movie podcast. We cover cult classics, B movies, and horror. None of us are academically trained in movie critique, but we all love movies. Just keep in mind these opinions are subjective, so enjoy the ride. All right, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the only Halloween movie to not feature Michael Myers. For those of you who aren't familiar, I guess Halloween was supposed to be like an anthology movie series, but it just turned out that the first two movies starred Michael Myers, so audiences assumed that Halloween was Michael Myers series. They try to do something different with this one. So this movie came out in I didn't write when it came out. Was it like
1982?
1982. For reference, Halloween came out in 79, I believe. Or 78? The first one?
1978.
78. This movie is not directed by the legend John Carpenter, but he did produce it along with Deborah Hill, the other main component of the Halloween franchise. Instead, this movie is the directorial debut of Tommy Lee Wallace. He also helped write the movie. Other franchises he's done is he did the It TV series, which is very cool, scarred a lot of us children. The Vampires of Los Muertos, which is it's an okay vampire movie, and Fright Night 2. It stars Tom Atkins as Dr. Daniel Chalice, Stacey Nelkin as Ellie Greenbridge, Dan O'Harely as Connell Cochran, and those are kind of the only three important characters of this movie. Everyone else is kind of just filler. So this is what, our fifth time watching this movie for the pod?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I enjoyed every time we did it.
This movie reminded me of playing PUBG on the Xbox One. This is absolutely garbage on the Xbox One, but for whatever reason, you just keep playing it.
You hate this movie so much.
I don't hate it. It's just like it's a nothing burger movie.
I love it. I think that's why I like it so much, that it's just so enjoyable for me. It's like a fun,
mediocre as fuck.
It's a fun ride.
It's not very funny. I do like the bad guy. Cochran is pretty cool. I think Cochran is a pretty good bad guy. I like how nonchalantly evil he is, which is kind of terrifying in its own way, because he's just so whatever's about just all the fucked up shit he's doing. And I love the fucking music in this movie. It's got that John Carpenter synth music that's got a little creepy tones to it. The music slaps in this movie for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. It's one of the many pieces that's enjoyable about this movie.
I will say the music for me was probably the best part. The music was great.
Practical effects too.
The practical effects are also very good. I mean, John Carpenter is a master at the practical effects.
And the overall movie was just great.
Great though. I don't know, man. You guys use that word kind of loosely.
It's enjoyable. I mean, it's a really good Halloween movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good movie to watch on Halloween.
Just some silly goose type shit.
I guess. I don't what's silly about it.
The
whole movie.
I think silly goose, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's a silly goose type movie. Like that movie's just pure silliness. Like nothing about this. This movie is trying to be very serious, and it's just not good at doing it.
It is. It is. It is. It's one of those for me. One of those movies that even though it tries to take itself seriously, I don't, and I enjoy it for what it is.
So it's so bad it's good. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't think it's bad.
Not in those words. I don't think it's bad. For me, I think it's good. Just like a fun ride.
It's enjoyable. Yeah, it's just an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we'll talk through it. I want to be convinced. I honestly, after seeing it 5 times, I still don't get it. But you know,
I think if you haven't gotten it after 5 times, I don't think you're gonna get convinced.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to understand like what about it, because you guys are like the horror dudes of the pod, like for sure.
Yeah.
Like you guys, I say watch horror movies kind of all the time, and I watch horror movies every once in a while, but like it's not like my favorite franchise or subgenre of movie. So I'm leaning on your guys' expertise to help me understand what makes this movie like up there with like The Thing and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in your opinion.
Okay. We'll talk.
See, I wouldn't put it in the same category as them.
But you said those movies are great too. So like
those movies are damn near perfect.
Yeah.
So you're using the term like
this movie's great. No, I love this movie. Like I'm not gonna say that it's not great. I'm just saying that it's not a perfect horror movie like the past 4 weeks, that we've seen movies. It's not perfect. And I love it for its flaws.
Well, all right. Well, let's talk through it. So you guys, Twan, take it away. So how did you get introduced to this movie? Because I heard of this movie, but really knew nothing about it up until probably last spring when we covered it for the first time.
Looking back on it, I have no idea how I came across this movie. I don't know who introduced this movie to me. I don't know if it was just something that I came across randomly, but yeah, I watched this movie for the first time, definitely in my adulthood. I've seen it a handful of times. I don't think it's a movie that I've seen every single Halloween, but I definitely try to watch it every Halloween just because it's like your prototypical Halloween movie. It's, one of those movies that actually takes place during the holiday. It's not just like a horror or a slasher film that you watch during Halloween. Like this is a fucking Halloween movie. And that being said, I think it's one of those ones that you have to watch during this time. I don't know. This movie has a lot of elements that I like. Of course, it's Carpenter, so we get a lot of the Carpenter feels. The synthwave music and the overall atmosphere of the movie, the practical effects, and all that stuff. I don't know. It just makes for a fun ride of a film. It's one of those movies that like is trying to take itself seriously, even though it shouldn't. But I just think that it's what makes this movie unique. It has elements of sci-fi, which I like. And in my opinion, it has a really great ending. But yeah, this movie's always a treat to watch, and I'm gonna die on this hill. But yeah, I was excited to watch it again.
Nice. What about you, Sarah? How did you like get introduced to this movie?
I think I found out about this movie from like a Watch Mojo video.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I watched it, and ever since then, it's been on my like yearly Halloween list of movies. Yeah, I like Twan. I enjoy this movie. This is like not like a guilty pleasure because I tell people about this movie all the time. But it's a pleasure of mine to just watch this. It's like a fun ride for me. It's a Halloween movie. John Carpenter is one of the producers, and so you can definitely feel that same type of like Carpenter vibe that goes on with it. The soundtrack, the overall aesthetic is super similar to like the other Halloween movies, even though it's not. The story is completely different, but I feel like the style of the movie is kind of the same. Just for me, it's an overall enjoyable ride, no matter how many times I watch it on all different levels of life. Just one of those good movies for me. And I'm glad that we've seen it 5 times in the last like
Here, well, 6
yeah,
months. I don't know.
6 months. Yeah, not even a year, just 5 times in the last like 6 months. It's just been a real treat for myself. How have you been handling the torture of watching this for the 5th time?
I mean, it's never felt torturous. I mean, like it's like an okay movie. Like I don't. That's what, like you guys talk about it. Like I think it's like the one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I don't think it's like horrible. I just think it's like okay. Like there's nothing great about it. Like you can take it or leave it. It's like it's okay. There's like there's way better movies out there that will take up that hour and a half, I think. Like I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's great. It's like it's okay. It's like
Yeah.
in the middle. It's like for me it's a C, it's just like a C movie. It's just like it's all right. Like I don't that's where well, I think the main difference that we have about this movie is like you guys bang for it and think it's great. I'm like it's whatever. Like it's not horrible. It was enjoyable-ish. It had its moments. Twan kind of touched on. I'm like the ending kicks ass. I think the ending's really cool. I love a bleak ending. I definitely like the use of technology in the movie. I thought that was actually pretty cool too. But the acting is like whatever. Chalice is a fucking piece of shit that's like hard to root for. Like he's just a terrible person. Like he's a deadbeat, alcoholic, womanizing dad that like hopefully no man like envies or wants to be like. He's just a horrible person. But I like Cochran. I mean Cochran's cool. And I like the setting is just so fucking random. Well let's start like getting into it. But the movie basically starts off with a guy running down a street in I think they just say like Northern California. It's like
Yeah.
kind of a nondescript. The most of the movie takes place in the city of Santa Mira, but the ending kicks off in like Northern California. This guy's running, being chased by these like men in suits. And he's kind of scared out of his mind. Ends up at a gas station, tells the gas station attendant, like, oh, they're trying to kill us. Passes out, uh, gets put in a hospital where if we get our first kill, which is pretty cool. I freaking I realized after watching the thing, Carpenter is like obsessed with the idea of someone just like crushing somebody's skull. He does it in this movie with Mr. Gimbridge, the guy who's like running away, and he does it in the thing with what's the guy with the pistol? I forget his name. When the Blair thing like puts his hand in his mouth and like crushes his skull.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's like a Carpenter. He loves that death.
I don't remember.
classic death.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. And it's
It's pretty
pretty
cool.
brutal. That's
It's
a brutal way
brutal.
to die. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the guy like puts his fingers in his eyes and like covers his mouth and just like crushes his skull from the inside. It's pretty gnarly.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely I would put that right next to, or maybe like a little bit below, drowning.
Yeah, I mean that's painful as fuck getting your
Yeah.
eyes ripped through. Like, dude, that's
Yeah.
gotta hurt.
But I think burning alive would probably be number one though.
Yeah, that's pretty bad too. That's
Oh, what
pretty
about
bad.
falling from a tower?
I
Mm.
mean, you would just die when you hit the
yeah,
ground.
that's an instant death.
But the
Yeah,
falling
but the
part
fall
would be
itself.
terrifying.
Yeah, the fall would be really bad.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Okay,
I mean,
maybe all right. Burning.
well, that dude from One Direction died from jumping off a third story. I didn't even know that was high enough to kill you.
Well, if you land head first,
Oh, that's true.
I think anything can kill you if you dream hard enough. Burning, falling, drowning, and then head crush. In that order.
I mean,
I'm scared of heights, so
a head crush is really bad, but I feel like depending how your head is crushed, it could be pretty. Like if you're taking like a sledgehammer to the dome from like Leatherface, that's probably a pretty quick death. But when you're getting your fucking eyeballs pushed in while
Yeah.
getting it crushed by someone's hand, that's got to be like painful as fuck.
yeah, because you
Yeah.
feel the fingers go into your fucking skull, I'm sure you feel it the whole way through.
Yeah.
And then it hits your fucking brains and you get fucking scrambled egged. It's pretty. That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
So I feel like, as hard as I have been initially in the movie, I feel like the beginning and the way that they set up the kind of story and the mystery of what's going on was pretty good. Because the initial scene with Mr. Greenbridge running and that synth music kicks in,
Mhm.
and you get that like bass and like dun dun. It's pretty sick. It's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Also, the credits, like the opening credit video, it's like it's like an animated video, and it ends up showing like the skeleton, the jack-o'-lantern at the very end. I thought that whole part was really cool because it just sets up the vibe. Like it to me, it almost felt like it was similar to like Halloween 1 and 2, where it was kind of like, I don't know. I really like that intro.
Yeah, the intro is really good. I think one theme that kind of pops up a lot that I thought was kind of cool that adds to the mystery that you don't find out about until like a little later is like right off the bat you get hit with was Silver Shamrock commercial designed
Mhm.
you to like buy your mask and like, oh kids, don't forget Halloween night 9 o'clock, put on your Silver Shamrock mask and see if you're gonna enter the contest to win a prize or whatever. Like the surprise is gonna happen. And then like how that kind of triggers the dude and he's like, they're gonna kill us, and he's holding that like pumpkin mask.
Yeah.
That was cool. It's like, oh, what the fuck? What's going on with that? Why is this dude fucking tripping? And who are these like FBI agent motherfuckers that are like no emotions? Like they never say a word, and they're just like fucking hunting this dude down like the fucking Terminator. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty cool setup.
Found out a little piece of trivia regarding the Men in Black. So I guess Tommy Lee Wallace wanted to get nothing but dudes with red heads,
Uh huh.
but that was like an impossible feat during that time. So
Just getting a bunch of gingers.
yeah, dude. Just really leaning into
To the Irish.
the underlying theme of fuck the Irish.
That's so funny. Yeah, this movie was written originally. The screenplay was written by a guy who like hated Irish people. Like apparently the original script was like very, very racist toward the Irish community. And was it Lee Wallace that like did rewrites on it to make it less racist?
Yeah, because what's his name?
What an
Nigel
English
Neal.
name, fucking Nigel.
I know, dude.
That's the most fucking English name I ever heard in my life. Oh my god, that's funny. I mean, one thing I did notice is we'll see with the Men in Black guys, they did find dudes that all kind of looked the same.
Yeah.
Like they all had the same like comb over hairdo. They're all like within the same height and build. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, oh, that's something I noticed this time around. I'm like, oh, that had to be like an intentional casting.
For sure. It had to. And there was a bunch of them. I think at one point you see like 6 or 7 of them like standing around all together, and they all look the exact same.
Yeah, well, like when we get to Santa Mira, they're all like fucking like in the town. You just see them everywhere, like always watching.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like a little army of them.
Always watching Wazowski.
The setup was pretty cool. I like the initial mystery. We get introduced to like Chalice. We learn he's a deadbeat fucking dad, alcoholic.
Degenerate.
He's a degenerate. He gets to like his kids and he's like, I bought you masks, and they're like these shitty like gas station plastic masks with just like the rubber band string attached to the back. Like, Dick, you're a doctor, bro, and this is that you're coming home with your brown bagging. Like, it looks like you had to go pick up a tall boy, and you saw these like on the like end cap, and you're like, oh, I'll get these for my kids. Like, come on, dude, you could do better than that. But I like how there's little tidbits I realized this scene that I didn't pick up the first time. Like his wife is like immediately comments on the fact that he smells like alcohol. Because
Yeah.
when he gets his beep, they beep him like with I think a pager to like he's got to go into the office. She's like, "Go drinking and doctoring, what a great mix!" And I was like, "Oh, this who showed up to the office like drunk." Like, oh shit, I didn't even realize that the first time around. Like, this who's just constantly pounding drinks.
Yeah, he's always lit. And he's like the main town ER doctor, isn't he?
They call him in because the other guy was done for the day or on like vacation. Because the nurse
Oh,
said she's like, oh, I would have called Doctor So and So, but he's out of town or something. He's like, it's cool, I don't mind. And that's when he goes and he sees a Mr. Grimbridge because he's all tripped out. I like how the gas station attendant too, who drove him there. He's like, he starts freaking out. He's like, they're gonna kill us all. He's like, all right, cool. Well, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. He just fucking dips, dude.
He's like the one guy that makes good decisions in the movie.
Yeah, he knows when to like get involved and when to like cut his losses and dip out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a good dude though. He's like kind of an unsung hero in this movie
Hmm.
because he will make a return later on. They kill Gimbridge, and then right after this, the man in black dude just like kills him. The nurse sees him, kill him, like walks in like right after he's done the deed. She starts freaking out. He just plays no mind. He's just like, all right, well, I'm out of here. He leaves, fucking douses himself in gasoline in his car and just blows himself up. That shit was cool. I was kind of like, what the fuck? Like, why did that happen? What is this? What is going down? Like, there's got to be an easier way to kill yourself, but leave no evidence behind.
fire, cleansed by fire.
Yeah, definitely. I do find it interesting, as we'll find out, that none of these goons ever use weapons. They're just all they just barehand it the whole time.
Registered
Well-
weapons are their fists.
Straight up fisticuffs.
Yep.
So the cops come in. The whole mystery is like, oh shit, what went down? And this is where Grimbridge's daughter comes in, Ellie Grimbridge, to like identify her father's body. Ellie Grimbridge is pretty fine, the actress that plays her. So she's like, all right, that's cool. And I like how that she just goes like straight up like detective mode. She's like, why was my dad murdered? And she like tries to retrace his steps and figure out what was going on. And she figures out like, okay, he left to Santa Mira. He was supposed to have dinner with so and so. He never made it. So something happened in between these 2 points. I'm gonna find out why. And then we got fucking the doctor. Fucking Chalice is all tripped out because somebody was murdered in his hospital, and he just can't shake the feeling that something happened, and he wants to know why, which I find interesting. I wonder why he's so like committed to this.
Well, he was buzzed.
He was. He does take a nap.
He was buzzing like a bee, and he was just like, I'm interested in this.
He's like, I'm committed.
His motivations are kind of wild because he's so down to do this whole mission, kind of not out of nowhere. Like someone died in his hospital, but still, it is like in one of those situations, would you just go on like a quest to figure out what happened after you watch someone get murdered and then blow themselves up in a car?
No, definitely
No.
not. Fuck
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, so he makes the most wildest decision ever to
I'm
just
like, dude,
join her
that's-
on this fucking mini quest.
Like that's I'd be like, that's crazy. What a fucking bad day at work I had.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I noticed too, that he tells the nurse beforehand, the part of the womanizing part, he's like, I should have married you, and then he just like slaps her ass.
Yeah, dude.
Like, god damn, dog.
Yeah.
Fucking relax.
Recently divorced activities.
I mean, he hits on every single woman in the entire movie.
He does. No stone unturned. He's playing the numbers game.
Pretty much shotgun approach.
Yeah, he's got those fucking beer balls.
No shit on.
He's just always down.
Always down to clown. Ellie chases him down. And then they're like, all right, he's like super invested. Let's go to the shop, figure out what happened. He's like, oh, it's at Santa Mira. He's like, let's go. He's like, let me pick up a 6-pack roadie real quick. And let's fucking dip out. And he thinks he just pounded that sixer on the drive up.
Probably.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much of an
Road beers.
alcoholic he was the entire time.
He's literally drinking in almost every shot for
Yeah,
the
he's-
first like half of the movie.
I don't think he stops drinking until
Oh, maybe
I
like the first like 3/4 of the
Yeah.
movie. The
It's like
final
he-
act.
the final
He's
act.
sober.
He's like I don't know if he's sober.
I don't know if
just
he's
not drinking.
sober. He's just not actively drinking.
doesn't have any alcohol in that moment.
Yeah.
And then they get to Santa Mira. I thought was an interesting setting. It being like this random Irish town in the middle of nowhere, where everything's like O'Shanahan's motel and the Shamrock gift shop, and I'm like, dude, this shit is so like fucking stereotypically Irish. I fucking love it. It's like if you did it with like Mexicans, it'd be like fucking El Rancho,
Oh,
and everyone wears a fucking sombrero and all.
well,
all
they
kinds
do
of-
it with like a Solvang.
Oh yeah, it is kind of like Solvang,
Like
but
there's towns
Irish.
out there,
Yeah.
you know.
Maybe
East
that's where
LA.
the inspiration came from. He's still there.
Solvang? That'd be kind of funny. It's like I took a trip to Solvang with the family and I just loved it. And I was like, what if this whole town was trying to murder me?
They were trying to
You look-
murder children. They
Yeah.
had one of those like Hansel and Gretel witches.
The clogs are made out of like child leather.
Damn.
Oh man. Poor Solvang. I mean, you didn't have to bring Solvang into this. I like Solvang.
Just shit talking Solvang.
It
Solvang's actually really nice. So
was just an example.
It's a good day trip if you're ever in the Santa Barbara area.
almost like what is it? Like halfway, a little bit more than halfway up to San Francisco.
Santa Barbara, it's like a third of the way. It's like 2 hours from LA. What'd you guys think of the town?
Town was cool. It gave off like a old school. I mean, yes, definitely Irish all the way around, but the town itself gives off like a really old school small town in the middle of nowhere kind of feel.
I feel like the town was very this isn't the right word. I was gonna say like low polygon. Like like it's Irish, but like not really. It just looks like they like found a town and just like covered the original sign, and instead of it being like, Ken's
Well-
Jewelers, they put like O'Shanahan's jewelry sign over it.
What would
With
you
green
want an
lettering.
Irish town to look like?
I don't know, more potatoes probably.
Like more potatoes. Expecting
know.
like a bunch of leprechauns walking around with
Yeah,
some like
yeah,
pots of gold.
yeah.
Oh,
Pots
bro.
of gold.
This is
Couple of
reality.
Rainbows,
In
bunch of-
reality,
Bunch of
Irish
drunk
people live everywhere.
redheads and like big
gingers
titty
everywhere.
women.
A
Some
bar on
guys-
every block.
Bunch of shepherd's pie.
A Guinness factory.
I mean, there's
Shepherd's
a
pie
factory.
does sound really good. There
Yeah,
is
it
a
does
factory.
Irish Spring Factory.
Yeah, some stew going. I don't know.
Cabbage.
Everyone there's kind of puffy because they're just drinking all the time.
Jesus
All
Christ.
the wives have black eyes.
Jesus Christ.
Pasty ass skin because they don't get any sun.
Man.
I don't
How
know.
did we get
I
here?
could go on. I don't know. Did this movie turn me racist towards Irish people? God damn it, Nigel. You did it again. Oh,
It's definitely one of those corporate towns or like
yeah, it's definitely
company
a
towns.
company town. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they even when they get there and they talk to the motel owner, he even tells them he's like, "Oh, the Shamrock Factory and Mr. O'Connell, he's a genius that built this town." I guess they said that he went there like after like World War II or something, and they like built this town in the 50s, and he made like this like mega corp. He's like one of the richest people in America,
Mhm.
all from selling toys, which is kind of wild to think about.
Well,
Real.
kids. If you market it towards kids, it's
That
a big
works.
market.
I mean, it worked for Toys R Us for a long time. The fucking the most stereotypic Irishman for sure is the fucking motel owner.
Yeah.
I like how his role in
Yeah,
the
he is.
movie is just like expose to tell you about Santa Mira. That's like his only job in the whole movie.
He does it well.
Well, it makes sense. He's
He's the
a
guy.
hotel owner, so like he gets, out of towners coming in. So he has to make sure to give his little spiel.
Mhm.
And then I think it's interesting how I guess you could tell it's a company town where when they drive in, like everyone's just staring at them, like who the fuck are these people?
Outsiders.
Outsiders. We don't
Seems like a
your
sundown
kind.
town.
Yeah,
I
it
think
does.
it is. they call it curfew.
Oh, you're right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there's I don't think there's a African American in the town. Just on
No.
the outskirts.
No, there's only one
Yeah.
BIPOC person in this whole movie.
Yep.
Gas
BIPOC.
station.
Nice.
Gas station attendant.
No DEI
No,
for
no. Because the nurse is a
Oh yeah, the
BIPOC.
nurse too. That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
But
Two
no,
people.
but no DEI in Santa Mira.
DEI.
Yeah, what's that?
Diversity, equity, inclusion. It's a new thing that companies have taken on to try to make sure that they're diverse.
Not the Silver Shamrocks, buddy.
Not the
around
Silver
here, partner.
Shamrocks. Not around here.
And then we get introduced to the other people who, well, I guess Ellie and Chalice weren't invited, but we get the Comfers, the Kemper family.
Kemper.
Yep.
Kemper family with the fucking that guy, the number one salesman in the whole country for Silver Shamrocks out of San Diego. And what's the lady's name?
Betty.
Yeah,
Betty
Betty.
Kemper?
No, the other lady.
Oh,
The
Marge.
Marge, yeah, the Marge. She's also a toy salesman, but out of San Francisco. And this kind of sets the scene for who's going to be, I guess, around. These are kind of the only characters we really see for the rest of the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like how they all show up at the same time too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right? They all got there. Like,
Perfect timing.
Coordinated attack.
coordinated attack. And then I like how Chalice is actually pretty smart, where he tells Ellie to like keep the guy distracted while he walks up to the front and sees if her dad stayed there. That was a pretty slick move.
He's
I mean,
smart.
Yeah,
a smart
he's
guy.
smart. I mean, he's a doctor.
For being fucked up like throughout the whole movie. He's got brain.
And then him and Ellie just like immediately fuck. It's like immediately. She's like just sitting in the car basking in his like beer sweats, and she's like, I want that sweaty dick in my mouth. And he just bangs her immediately. I don't understand their relationship. I don't know how they got to that point.
How does anyone get to any point?
I know. How does anyone get anywhere?
I don't know. I don't know. I
This-
didn't.
we weren't shown the car ride over, so
I guess he could have been putting the moves on her, huh? Just being all
Yeah.
charming and shit.
yeah.
Well, he's pounding his six pack.
That's not the only thing he was pounding.
Who knows? Maybe she's just comfortable with her body, and she was a floozy.
Maybe.
She
Maybe.
just threw herself.
I mean,
At
I
him.
get. I mean, what he did was kind of romantic. Like he just dropped everything. Like he dropped his kids' time. Like he just ditched his children immediately just to go with this like hot 20-something-year-old on like this mission to like some random town to help her figure out what happened to her dad. Like that's got to get
True.
you some brownie points.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you mentioned it, but he does cancel. Like he's supposed to pick up his kids, or he's supposed to do something with kids, and then he cancels, and his ex-wife is like yelling at him on the phone. He's like,
He just
I
hangs
can't.
up on her,
I gotta go to a doctor's convention, and then he like hangs up.
grabs his sixer, and he's like, "Fuck them kids."
Yep. I'm out.
About to make some more kids.
I know, for reals.
About to start a new family.
And move to L.A.
That's what people used to do back then. It's
No,
fucking crazy.
It is crazy. You move like one
They would
county
just,
over,
like,
and you're gone
dip out.
forever.
Like, no one would ever know.
It is kind of wild. Like you hear it all the time, like on these like murder mystery shows. Like, oh, he killed his family in New Jersey, and then he moved to Connecticut. It's like that's like one state over.
It's like
And they're
a
like, and they
3-hour drive.
They didn't find him for 30 years. It's like, really? Like, what the fuck? He was not far at all.
Just
Gone,
shaved his
bro.
mustache.
Yeah, changed
Changed his last name.
last name. And then the movie kind of escalates pretty quickly from here, which is nice. So it goes from he gets there, they kind of set up, him and Ellie hook up, and then he dips out to go like I guess check out the town. And he meets that bum dude, and the bum dude kind of tells him like there's something nefarious going on without telling him exactly what's happening. I like how the bum guy Like just they're just two alcoholic buds, dude. He's like, yo, let me get a sip of that whiskey, dog. I don't got any diseases. And he's like, all right, fuck it, you seem cool, man.
He's like, "Hey, that bottle looks kind of heavy. Can I have a
Yeah,
drink?"
I like that. I like that. I like that line. He's like, that bottle's looking a little heavy there, pal. Let me help you lighten that load a little bit. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
Smooth.
Yep.
Yeah. Takes a little drinky poo. It kind of tells him like, yeah, fucking Cochran came in, he kicked out all the locals. They're up to some weird shit. He just starts talking shit. He's like, have you noticed there's cameras everywhere, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't know, man. That town is like really, it's kind of fucked, to be honest. They have a curfew, which is red flag. There's cameras watching you everywhere. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, that's creepy as fuck. And then the bum just starts talking shit about him, and they just like send some guys to just fucking kill him, like just because he was talking shit. That was this next step is pretty cool. They just rip his fucking head off. The like Men in Black guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
he
I
got
saw
Mortal Kombat fatality.
when I saw that, I was just like, hey, yo, what's up with these dudes? Like, why are they so strong? I did not expect them to be like later, spoiler alert, we find out that they're like robots, but I was not expecting them to be robots.
Yeah.
But I thought the deaths in this scene are really sick. Like his head getting ripped off, and while like the body's falling over, you see like one squirt of blood just shoot up from his neck area and then just like tumbles over. That was sick. This is a cool scene. And no one even knows that he's dead. Like never mentioned again.
Nope. I don't think anyone even knows who he was.
He's
Yeah.
just the town drunk. Some
Yeah.
bum. Comes back, and then who's in Marge has been like messing with, she's all mad because she bought a mask, and I guess she brought her kid's mask because he was playing rough with it, and the like little silver shamrock emblem that's on the back of each mask fell off, and she's like, I don't know, I guess gonna complain that they're not put on correctly or something. Because she was pretty upset about it.
Yeah.
No, she was there because her order got messed up.
Yeah.
But
That's true,
also,
that's true. But also to bring up that point, right?
yeah, that the masks were like put together not well because that shit just fell off.
I wonder if they messed up her order on purpose, or that just so happened that it just got messed up.
Probably just got messed up. I think it was just a coincidence that she was there.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Well, she was the reason why that she died.
Yeah, no, she fucks up.
Yeah.
So right after this, Chalice comes back. He's like got all this information, and he's like gonna tell Allie, or he is kind of telling her, right? He's like, oh, I learned this, and he's like going to like freshen up in the restroom, and then she like opens her
Her towel.
the blanket, because he wrapped herself in the blanket after she took a shower, and she's like wearing lingerie.
Mhm.
I was like, damn, where'd she get lingerie from?
Travels
She
with
was
it, bro.
ready, bro.
She was fucking going. She was like, well, I mean, I'm gonna go see my dead dad. Might as well, you never know what's gonna happen. So they go at it again a couple times. They're kind of just banging all night. And poor Marge is reading her book, all bored and shit, and she notices like there's something on the back of the emblem. It looks like a computer chip, which is kind of cool because this is 1982. And I mean, I don't know what the computer chip looked like in those old like Pentium computers, those old Macs, but I thought it was sick because it does kind of resemble like a modern like motherboard that you would see today on any kind of electronic device, really. So I thought the design of it was pretty sweet. And she's kind of fucking with it, and she takes a hairpin out, which I thought was interesting because she's like, I'm gonna see what the fuck this is. She messes with it, and it causes it to like fire, and she gets shot in the face with a fucking laser beam, and her mouth just gets split open like a predator, and she looks all fucked up. The special effects, the practical effects in this scene, I think are my favorite.
It looked like I don't know if you dudes ever seen like those old school cartoons where they have like a banana as a gun,
Yeah.
and when it shoots and like the peel just like opens up.
It's exactly what it looked like, but
Yeah.
just with her face.
Yeah.
Aren't there bugs too?
Yeah, and then bugs, and I think
Come out of the mask.
come out of they come out of her mouth, like a big ass fly comes out of her nose or some shit. I don't know why that happens because we see it happens again later, but I guess this is part of like the magical part of the device.
The witchcrafty.
Yeah, the witchcrafty, because
And
like
there was
it kills you and then it releases like bugs and snakes and shit.
that's the treat.
Yeah, that's the treat after the
Yeah,
trick.
yeah. But we overlooked something at the very beginning of the movie.
Hmm.
I don't know if this is a terrible place to talk about it, but um, at the tow truck yard, the guy is watching a news report about um one of the Stonehenge hedges
Oh
being
yeah,
taken.
that's right. One of the I noticed. That's right. I didn't notice that the first 4 times I watched it. That they report that Stonehenge got a piece of Stonehenge got stolen.
Yeah,
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was pretty important. But I loved the Marge death scene and how I guess the whole town is in on Cochrane's plan. It seems like because I don't know if they know because she's being monitored in the room or if the hotel manager calls, but Cochrane finds out that she was a victim of a misfire and he sends like his scientist Dr. Goons out to go like collect her body. And he personally goes out to see like what the fuck is going on, which I think was kind of interesting. And then this is where we get introduced to Cochrane for the first time because he's kind of mentioned and we see his limo, I think once or twice up until this point, but we haven't actually met him. He's like
yeah,
this older Irish gentleman, very like professional looking. He's talking he talks to Chalice and Ellie, and he's kind of like I don't how do I say it? Like a very affirmative. Because Chalice is like, well, where are they taking her? Like, I'm a doctor. Let me see what's going on with her. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. I got the best like emergency facility at the factory. Like, she's gonna be taken care of. And he's very cordial but very firm, and he gives off a very like don't fuck with me. Don't ask any questions about this. Like, go away. Which I thought was kind of cool. He does a
mm,
good job of playing that kind of like corporate character guy.
yeah.
Yeah, he
He
does.
reminded me of like a what like a Rothschild would
Would
carry
be like,
themselves like.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is interesting because I feel like in movies today, when they show like corporate guys, are more like Wall Street bros. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Where this guy had more of like a professionalism to him. I
yeah.
think it's
Definitely
kind of
carried himself
interesting.
like that old money,
Yeah,
like
yeah, very much.
very elegant.
Yes. And then
I'm cool,
I like how
collected.
he's whispering to because I barely caught on to this with him and the hotel manager are talking. He's like, "What happened?" Like they're all next to each other, and the scientist is like, "It was a misfire." It sounds like him in the hotel room. And he's kind of telling him like how to deal with the guests being there, and he's like, all right, Mr. Cochran." He like puts him in the car and like closes the door. And then this is where I was like, "Oh shit! Does the whole town know Cochran's plan?" And they're just like chill with it.
Maybe because if you think about it, there's no kids in that town.
We don't see any.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing any children. And the hotel, no, not the hotel. The the random alcoholic dude does say that like everybody from like Cochrane brought in everybody, and
That's right,
so
like his whole
Yeah,
town, huh?
so it's just a bunch of like outsiders. So I think everyone's in it.
I like so from this point on, I feel like Chalice and Ellie are kind of like, okay, there's some crazy shit going on here. There is something like nefarious going on because the way they handled Marge was kind of suspect. And they're like, all right, cool, we'll go into the town tomorrow. And we'll kind of we'll see what's what. So I like how they go into the town and they're like, hey, like they go to the I guess like I'm guessing it's like is it the factory or like a post office or something like to see hey, what's up with the order, and they're like, oh yeah, your dad got his order, I don't know what happened. And then Sir Chalice pops up again. No, Chalice, Cochrane pops up because I guess he's there to meet the Comforts to give them their tour of the factory because they're the number one sellers. And I like how Comfort's like, hey, can I bring my homies with me? And Cochrane's like, yeah, sure. I was just about to ask them. That fool was not about to ask them.
He wasn't. He
He
wasn't
looked
gonna ask
very
him.
fucking annoyed that these dudes got invited. But I like the whole factory tour part. The factory looked pretty sweet.
Did it?
I mean, it looked
I think
okay.
this was like the one part of the movie that I like it was a negative because the factory looked very open and very desolate.
I like
Yeah.
the it kind of reminded me of like How It's Made on History Channel. What's your guys' favorite of the three masks between the pumpkin, the witch, and the skull?
The skull because it glows in the dark.
They all glow in the dark.
Did they?
Well, when they earlier in the movie where they're in uh Mr. Gimbridge's like toy shop, he has a big sign that says new glow in the dark mask, and it's all three of those masks.
I think I like the pumpkin the
Nice.
most. I think that's the custom one, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think the witch and the skull were part like they already had it, right? And then they
Mhm.
made the pumpkin for the movie.
I think a random fact is that those masks from this movie you can see in the newer like Halloween trilogy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like the
like
non Rob the Rob Zombie ones are the ones that
no, the new
finish
ones
the
that
story.
are yeah, the ones that finish the story. During Halloween, they're all on Halloween. On one of them, you can see some kids walking around with those masks on.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention it, but a couple times they show Halloween 1 on like the TV. They're like, "Oh, this Friday, the classic Halloween.
Yeah,
Tune in to watch it."
when Chalice is at the bar.
That's
Mhm.
right. And then they showed it again later on. I don't remember when. It's shown twice.
Probably at the tow yard because that dude's always watching TV.
Oh, you mean the gas station, the black dude?
Yeah,
Yeah, it might have been then. So that means that Halloween is fake, but Halloween 3 is the real world.
hmm
Damn.
Part of the um
The
HCU.
the carp verse
Oh, the CCU, the Carpenter
cinematic universe.
Cinematic Universe. Hell
They're all
yeah.
connected.
The Thing is actually going on in reality as well.
If you look in the backyard of the scrapyard, you can see the pieces of the helicopter.
Damn.
I don't know.
There's a Norwegian running around throughout the movie,
Throughout the
just shooting
movie.
dogs.
Well, I think it's kind of stupid and also I don't know, like a mishap by Cochran where he knows like he's pretty calculated and he's always monitoring, right? So he knows that like Ellie Grimbridge is there, right? Looking for what happened to her dad, like investigating.
Mhm.
And while they're on the tour, they just so happen to like leave the like door open where they're storing his car. Like what the like that seemed like such a weird misstep for Cochran to just do that.
For real.
Just to flex on her, be like, I killed your fucking dad, and what? I don't know
After
why
they were
do
so
that.
safe about like everything else, it's
Yeah,
just
they're like very
by the way, here's your
calculated.
dad's car.
Yeah, boom, check it out. You could clearly see it.
Yeah. Rookie mistake.
That was very rookie, but that's when like yeah, I mean he capitalizes, I guess. He tries to clean up his fuck up real quick because like from this point on, Cochran starts like actively trying to kill them.
hmm
Before he was kind of like, they're a nuisance. It's gonna be it's I think it was when they're getting the factory tour, it is Halloween because all this takes place like in the span of a week, right? Yeah, this is where the movie really starts to pick up because they're like, all right, fuck. But I like Ellie's like, all right, there's something going on. Let's just get the fuck out of here. Like she starts to realize, oh, they did kill my dad. We shouldn't be here. We should probably get out and like call the cops or something. Is it Chalice that kind of convinces her to stay? Because why don't they just dip out?
I think they were going to. Chalice goes to go do something, and then
He goes to
check out.
He goes to call the chick because we
we
didn't
never
mention this,
mentioned.
but he's been in contact with the coroner, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he's like
Who
asking,
also
like,
wants to bang him.
yeah. He's always hitting on her all the time. She's like, he owes her dinners. So he like calls her and he's like, hey, can you look at the remains? Like, this is like really weird. Like, don't tell anybody. Just like do me this favor. Like, I don't know what it is, but like what happened to this guy's really fucking bugging me. Like, keep me in the loop. And every once in a while he checks in with her. And this final time is when she's like, it's really weird. Like, even though the guy exploded, the car didn't get hot enough that it would just turn him to ash. So usually there should be some bones or something left over, but it's like all car parts. It's like springs and fucking and gears and
Cogs and
shit and cogs.
weird.
Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
really weird. And
So weird.
when she says that, like the camera pans down below the motel phone, and we see that it's bugged. So they're listening in on their conversation, and because she's starting to figure out, she's like, oh shit, like this is weird. Like I don't think this was like a person. Like so we start to get our first clues that the henchmen are robots. And then from this point on, that's right, he goes back to the room and Ellie's gone, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she gets kidnapped like all stealthy like, which is kind of, that sucks for poor Ellie. And then this is where Chalice sees like the robot dudes are after him. And he kind of like books it. He's pretty stealthy. I'll give it to him because he manages to get through an entire city that has cameras and shit and get back to the factory without getting caught or seen. Like they don't even know he's at the factory. It's kind of wild.
He's super stealthy.
He's got that like drunk speed.
In this universe, alcohol gives him stealth and speed.
What'd you guys think of when we got to this point? Did you pick up that it was a robot when the chick's like, it's all fucking cogs and springs? Like when you first saw it, were you kind of like, why the fuck? Like, what's up with these dudes?
Nah, the first time I still had no idea what the hell was going on. And I had actually thought that like it was gonna be like a ghost or something like that. It like I was expecting something just completely different.
It turns out that he's like a genius engineer because when we get to the factory, we see like well, also during the tour, they get to like a room that shows like all his inventions. And he has some pretty cool like mechanical inventions that he made because he's like he went from making toys to making masks, and he also designed the little chips on the back of the mask, which is kind of crazy. He's like super fucking smart. I like the old when Chalice gets to the factory and we see like that old lady animatronic. That's like someone. It's like she's like
Oh,
knitting
yeah.
or whatever.
Oh
Yeah. And it
That
looks
thing
like
was
a real
cool.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
straight up like a real person. He like shakes it and the head pops off and it's all like gears and shit.
How hard do you have to shake a robot to pop its head off?
Well, I think because Cochran says it was an antique, so maybe it was just like really old. But
Just fucking drunk shaking her.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's probably fucking got that drunk shame.
Yeah, when I first watched this movie, I thought all the henchmen, they were just had the downs.
They're all
They were all
sped.
strong.
They're
Yeah.
all overstimulated.
Mm-hmm.
You're like,
They just they got the 10 times the strength of a normal person,
you thought it was fucking Lenny from
ripping heads off.
of Mice and Men or what?
Yeah.
Just crushing little rabbits and shit.
Fucking what's his name from Green Mile?
Oh no, but he was a nice guy though.
He's nuts.
I just read the ending of that book the other day because I was bored in a class and they just had it there. And I was like, let me read about how Lenny died real quick.
Just going for the end of the book.
Yes, the last like 3 pages. And then fucking so Chalice is in the factory and he's all stealth mode and he like tries to box the robot. He
Got
hits him with
hands.
He hits him with 2 clean haymakers to the chin, and the robot just shakes it off. And he's like, "Oh shit!" But then he manages to like punch him so hard in the stomach that he like punctures his stomach and like murders this robot. All his like goo and shit comes out. I was like, "Damn, how fucking hard is he punching this dude that his hand went through? Or how like soft is its midsection?"
Drunk strength. Going back to it again.
Everyone has a weakness.
I guess, right? It seems like such a like oversight though. Its
For
weakness
robots, it's
is
just their
its
tummy.
torso. Just like the biggest part of the human body is its weakness.
Well, I mean, because everyone goes for the head, right?
I guess that's true.
Like Cochran's like, if everyone goes for the head, I'm gonna make the weakness the body.
And then he gets jumped and like immediately captured.
Yeah.
But I like Cochran, dude. He's so nonchalant. Like they capture him and like he sees like the old lady was broken. He's like, "Oh no, that's an antique." Oh, I'm never gonna be able to replace that one. Ah, Mr. Chalice, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. I was like, damn, Cochran, he's so fucking smooth, calm. He's calm, cool, and collected like this whole movie. He's like never trips ever. Like
Yeah,
he never loses his cool.
always chill.
He's so confident in his plan. He's so confident in his own genius.
Well, oh no, I don't want to ruin it. Just keep going, keep going.
Well, I mean, then he just gets captured. He's like, "Where's Ellie?" And then Cochran's like, "Oh, look, she's on this screen. She's very comfortable. She's taking a nap."
Hmm.
And fucking Cochran's like, "I'll kill you." And then this is where we get this is where Cochran tells us his plan, right?
Hmm.
So his plan is kind of chaotic. So he's from like this druid, still like paganist part of Ireland, and he was talking about how like people don't know that back in the day Halloween was about like giving blood sacrifices, and now everyone doesn't know what the holiday is really about, and it's become like commercialized and shit. So what he's gonna do is at midnight on oh no 9 o'clock on Halloween, midnight Eastern time, he's going to basically set off those chips, and it's going to kill all the children wearing them, and they're going to be the blood sacrifice, and it's probably going to kill some of their family members too, because fucking rattlesnakes and shit come out of the mask when you die. And that's his plan, just to like sacrifice a bunch of kids to his like paganistic gods, I guess.
Yep. So people fear Halloween.
And he's using the power of the like ancient power of Stonehenge's magic to power his like computer chips in order to like kill these children. This was this is where I feel like the movie kind of jumped the shark a little bit.
It was a lot of elements.
It was like, yeah, this is like he's already like this genius like inventor guy. Like, I don't think you needed the like Stonehenge like magic part. You could have just like dome shotted a bunch of children with a laser beam to the back of the head. Like, I don't know if he needed the Stonehenge magic to like be in it. I feel
He
like
did.
it seemed a little like over they overwrote this section a little bit.
I think he needed Stonehenge to be there.
Yeah,
Only the
Why?
power of Stonehenge.
Well,
Yeah,
Murder
but
everybody.
I'm saying like I don't the way the movie was like story wise was going was it already convinced me that he's like this mechanical like technical genius. So like it just being like, oh, he just invented this laser killing machine. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like he has all these crazy robots. That doesn't seem like out of the realm of possibility to just like be able to create like an explosive device to put on the back of a mask. And then
Yeah.
like it being powered by like Stonehenge magic, like in theory, I think is cool. That's the only time he ever really uses magic. Like if he used the magic to power his robots too, but like okay, it's this like cool combination of like magic and technology. Like that's what makes Cochran so badass is that he actually has these. He's like a wizard, and he uses his wizardry with technology, and that's how he's so genius and so crazy with his inventions. Like that's what gives him the cutting edge is that it's actually magical. That would have
Mhm.
been cool, but they're just kind of like feel like they just threw the whole like magic thing in at the end, just like oh by the way, Stonehenge magic. It's like oh okay, I guess. I don't know.
I like that we never get an explanation of how they like get a piece of Stonehenge over there. Like they just like David Blaine the whole
Yeah, for
world
reals.
and like Stonehenge there's like an actual you see the piece of Stonehenge like sitting in his factory. They're just like slowly chipping away at it. I like that.
They're just like, how do you steal something that big without anybody noticing?
And I just thought of this right now. In the beginning of the movie, we're shown a news fucking story about Stonehenge being missing, but the masks had already been mass produced.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's definitely inconsistent. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it didn't need it because the story like was progressing a certain way with his plan, and like they didn't need the magic element. Like, I felt like it undercut Cochran's genius a little bit for me.
What if like all of that had already been created but Stonehenge was the missing piece in order to complete the spell.
Maybe it wasn't a chip, but it was a talisman, and Stonehenge, yeah,
Like
was
powered it.
activating all those little talismans.
It seemed like that's what ultimately ended up happening. And then the ending, the like last 15 minutes, some of the things that happen are just so ridiculous. I like the Comforts getting murdered. That shit was crazy. So the Cochrane leads the Comforts into like this back room and has them just kind of like chilling in there. And he's like, "Oh, watch this commercial." And Comfort's like, "What does he want me to see? Like, this is all the same shit. I've seen this commercial already." His kid's wearing the mask, and I like how the mask like squeezes in on his head. It just kind of looks like it like becomes his face, and then just like kills him. He just dies over,
That's a
which is
brutal
crazy.
death.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't see a lot of child death in American filming. So many bugs and snakes and shit come out of his mouth. Like, so like was fucking Marge's room just like a fucking like zoo by the end of when they took her body out? Is that why you had to use robots? Because they're like immune to snake bites? Because imagine
Oh.
walking in here to collect your body and there's just fucking rattlesnakes all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, snakes and spiders and centipedes and
They're all venomous and shit. That'd be fucking
Ugh.
wild. Like, fuck that, dude. I better get fucking
hazard
fucking
pay.
pay.
hazard pay for this shit.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. That's the bugs have to be the
Yeah,
witchy.
I think that's like part of the magic for sure.
And it's funny how the parents die too, because they don't die from the masks; they die from the creepy crawlies.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
the mom
So
just like faints, and
Then
then
gets overtaken by bugs.
Big Buddy gets bitten in the leg by a rattlesnake. That's a shitty way to go out too.
yeah,
Yeah.
And Cochrane's like, yes, yes. I do like that his first sacrifices is killing his number one seller just to like double down, like, oh, I'm real about this shit. I'm gonna kill my number one seller just to show you how real I am.
Well, I think it was already too late by then. Like it's already Halloween.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, he's so committed, he's like killing his number one guy.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm done with this business. My business is murder now.
yeah.
Like, this is me retiring by killing all these children.
We're just entering not retirement, but like a new phase in life.
Yeah, his next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dear
Just-
Diary.
Dear diary, today I started my next chapter in life.
The old Cochrane is gone. The new, better Cochrane is here. And then Chalice just becomes fucking, I don't know, fucking Dan Marino, fucking John Montana with his fucking throwing abilities. This dude gets locked up to a chair and they're gonna kill him the same way. They put a mask on his head and they're gonna make him watch the video. And he somehow like wiggles free, grabs the mask while sitting on the chair and like perfectly tosses it over and covers the camera in like the far corner of the room and then manages to break out, which is fucking so ridiculous. It's like
Yeah.
a once in a lifetime like shot.
Yeah. He's just all bomb at his throw. While I think he has his hands tied, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
dude, he like flicks it like while still being tied down to a chair. He just flicks it. He's like, and then it like goes over. Like, damn, okay. Cal's got
Yeah.
that fucking forearm strength on lock.
That drunk strength, man. He has
Right.
that drunk confidence, that drunk strength.
Fucking beer pong champion, that guy.
This movie's just it's
Fucking
just
trick shot and boom, made it. And then he breaks out and like immediately finds Ellie, like no problem. Like, how did he find her? He didn't even know where he was.
she found him.
She called to him mentally.
Yeah. Just calling.
His penis is attracted to her. It's like a magnet
Pheromones.
and pheromones. And one thing I
'Cause
noticed,
they haven't showered.
they
They're all
haven't.
sweaty.
And they've just been fucking. He's been drinking the whole time, dude. He must have a smell to him. I noticed that when he finds Ellie, from this point on in the movie, she never says anything ever again. She never has any more lines,
Yeah, she
Was it-
doesn't, huh?
which I think is pretty interesting, as we'll
Yeah.
find out in a little bit. And then here's the dumbest scene in the entire movie, just by far. Just, I guess this is where it becomes a silly goose movie, but this scene is fucking stupid. Where they're hiding behind like the clothing rack, and they just like Scooby Doo sneak by like rolling the clothing rack. Where there's like 30 people in the room, like, and like nobody sees this like clothing rack moving on its own on the other side of the room in broad daylight too. It's like very obviously like just there.
Oh, bomb, dude. His sneak
Well-
is like at 100.
Yeah,
An elixir
the
of
dude's like
drunkenness.
fucking Sam
Yeah.
Fisher out there.
Because like Metal Gear Solid, and you put the box over your head.
Yeah.
But then they murder Cochran and everybody like pretty smartly. I think the way they beat everyone was dope. Where they just get a box of the like shamrocks, and they just toss them down, and they all fire at the same time, and just kill everyone in the room.
I like that. Doesn't Cochran say like "well played" or something like that? Like
Yeah.
at the very end. I
Yeah.
like
Well
that
played,
he's like
Dr. Chalice. And he just gives him a fucking
a golf
applause.
clap. Yeah,
Dude, he's so calm, cool, and collected. Even while facing death, he's just like whatever's about it.
I think it's
He's
because
like-
he knows his plan is already in motion.
Yeah,
True.
I think he was like, I won you beat me personally. You won this battle, but I'm gonna win the war. Like,
Mhm.
kudos to you.
Yep.
Yeah, that
That's
was
why
cool.
I think he was so cool. Like just chill the whole time throughout the whole movie. Anytime we see him, that's a good villain. Like villains that only tell you their plan after it's already been done. Like
Mhm.
Ozymandias from Watchmen.
And then they escape, and Dr. Chelsea is like, "We gotta stop the broadcast. We gotta call the broadcast network and get them to stop the broadcast." And then this is where you find out that Ellie's a fembot, and she just tries to
Fembot.
murder this fool by crushing his head.
Just crushing heads, dude.
And then he pulls when evil lurks and just fucking crashes his car, just fucks her up.
Yeah.
And she just won't go down. Like, he crashes her car, and then she's still alive, right? She's choking him.
Yeah.
How does he ultimately beat her?
I think he the crash rips off her arm, and
Oh,
so
that's right. The arm's choking him.
yeah, and so I think he gets like a tire iron out of the
That's
back of the car,
right.
and then I think he
So
just
beats her.
he beats her and takes her head off, and then he starts booking it.
Then he starts booking. And then he ends up, it's funny because you get this cool shot because he runs the exact same way that Mr. Greenbridge did. It ends up back at the gas station where Greenbridge was helped by the black dude.
Mhm.
And then he's like, I need to use your phone. I need to use your phone. I need to call. And he calls the broadcast networks and tells them that they got to take the commercial off the air, that it's like a matter of life and death. And he's like, I don't care what you have to say. Say there's a bomb threat or something. And they do it for 2 channels, and there's 1 channel left. And the movie ends with him just like yelling into the phone, like, you gotta turn it off. You gotta turn it off. And then it goes like black screen. So we don't know if he was successful or not.
I don't think he was.
He wasn't.
I don't think he was either.
It was too late.
I think the ending's great. It's the highlight of the movie.
Once it's over,
No, I like a downer ending. A downer
nothing better than when
ending's
the
always-
movie finishes.
is always a good time. I like those movies that can lead you with the top in Inception. Like, was he awake?
Mhm.
I like those types of endings.
Yeah. It was a great ending to a great movie.
Because I'm sure there's people out there that'll argue that he was successful, but then there's people like us who like to think that he wasn't.
All the kids died.
And in one instant, every teacher in America was out of a job.
But
So I didn't find that any mask was made specifically for the movie. They were all made by the same company, and they all used the original molds that company used.
damn.
So they were all made for the or they were all made previously just as masks and just used
so
again.
they were mass produced.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do they sell the Halloween season of the witch masks?
Yeah, you can buy them.
Let me see. How expensive are they?
I think the
20
really good
bucks.
ones were like 100 and something. The cheapy ones that you can get at Walmart are like $15. The original one was by Don Post Studios. The town of Santa Mira was also the same setting for Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That is pretty cool.
The jingle for the song is London Bridge is Falling Down, and the reason why they used it because it was public domain.
That's smart. They do it. They used it in the they for the commercial, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. They change it enough so it's got a little like creepy feel to it. That's for sure.
The voice that plays in Santa Mira of like the curfew announcer and then the telephone operator when he's trying to call 911 is Jamie Lee Curtis.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Another fact about this is that it was originally written to be like a pod horror movie, kind of similar to like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and it was going to lean a little bit more into the sci-fi, but the studio didn't like that direction, so they had them rewrite it.
Oh, so I'm telling you, it feels like they just threw the magic in.
Yeah. All right, take us home.
All right. Is that it for the interesting facts? Those are actually some pretty good ones. I had no idea. Do we get into our reviews? All right, I'll start us off because you guys will be have like the more glowing reviews. This watch was definitely more enjoyable than the previous watches for sure. Maybe because I didn't take notes this time because I already had notes from before, and I just kind of just like watched the movie. And I was on the treadmill while I was watching it, so I was like just hyper focused on watching the movie. But it was better. It was better. I still think it's a C movie. It's not bad. It's not great. I do find it interesting that looking at like modern reviews, how the narrative has shifted in this movie. Like when it originally came out, it was kind of panned or like being horrible by reviewers at that time, but people that have reviewed it since then have been way more positive on it. So Rotten Tomatoes has it at a 50%, and then IMDb has it at a 5.2. But if you look up like modern reviewers, they seem to be a lot higher on it. They bring up a lot of the same points I think you guys do, that it's just like a good quirky like example of like 80s horror at the time. I don't know. I think the movie was okay. The main character I think was very unlikable. I didn't like Chalice at all. He's kind of like an alcoholic piece of shit. I thought Ellie Greenbridge was pretty good. She's like I like that John Carpenter movies, even though this isn't a Carpenter movie, like for this being like an 80s movie, like the women characters are definitely like at the forefront of being very like capable people, and they're not like damsels in distress, which is pretty like normal from this like time period of movie making. So I think that was pretty cool. I think Cochran was a great villain. I liked his plan. I do think that the whole magic part kind of jumped the shark a little bit, but other than that, it's like a solid flick. If you want to see like kind of a cheesy like okay 80s horror movie, like check this movie out. But don't go into it expecting to it have the same quality of like the other two Halloween movies. It definitely isn't, in my opinion, close to being within the same conversation of those movies. But see movie, it's okay. What about you, Saya?
I give this movie a B. It's not perfect by any standard, but for me, I really enjoy it. Like you mentioned, it's just a fun ride. I think it's, even though it tries to take itself really seriously, I don't, but I enjoy it for what it is. I like the practical effects. I like the music. I like the just the visuals of it. The doctor is definitely not a good person. But maybe that's why I enjoy kind of seeing him get dominated at the very end, like even though he was the hero, he wasn't really a hero because it didn't matter. I think he still lost anyway. For sure, Dan O'Hurley as Cochrane. He's such a good villain, like calm, cool, collected, and he knew his plan was going to work off it anyway. So I think that maybe that added to it as well. This is for me, like this is a movie that I watch every Halloween. So I'm glad that we got to do this, even though we've seen this movie like 5 times and we tried to review this movie a couple of times already. I'm glad that we're doing this again because it's one of those movies that I will always watch and enjoy regardless of how bad or good it is. I recommend this movie to everybody. One of those silly like Halloween movies that you can just kind of put on in the background, or I mean even sit and watch. Just it's an experience.
What about you, Twan?
Yeah, I'm right there with Saya. B, even though this movie is probably the most divisive in the like Halloween franchise. I always enjoy watching this film. It's campy, it's fun. It takes itself serious, but like in a non-serious way, if that makes any sense. It has elements of sci-fi and horror. The utilization of practical effects, I'm always gonna bang for. Practical effects are the way to go, in my opinion. I feel like this movie is what you would expect from like this is like the prototypical B horror movie. I personally love the step away from Michael Myers. I realize that he's an icon in the horror world, but I really would have liked to see what Carpenter and Betty Hill and Tommy Lee Wallace would have done with like a full anthology series. I would have liked to see where they would have went, but we didn't get that. The soundtrack, the synth wave that we get, that Carpenter synth soundtrack that is just, it's always so good. It always sets the vibe for the movie. Yeah, I don't know. It's horror, but it has a lot more sci-fi elements to it than anything. And the horror in it, I feel, is just a little easier to digest than say like a Terrifier or Saw. It's not like super gory. It's a much easier, lighter watch. So with that being said, I would recommend this movie to everyone. Just watch it. It's a good Halloween movie. It takes place during the holiday. It's not overly horror filled. It's not overly gory. It's a fun film.
All right, so we have 2 B's and a C. I highly recommend from San Twan. All right, should we wheel it up? Bring the wheel back.
Yep.
All
Finishing
right.
out spooky season, and we go back.
I'm gonna laugh if we just get another horror movie. Do it well. Let's wheel it. Let's see what happens.
The wheeling.
Wheeling and dealing. I kind of want to watch Ed Wood. I hope we get Ed Wood. It's a good movie. It's an underrated Johnny Depp movie.
Hope we get a fucking David Lynch movie.
Ferngully.
Fucking Ed
The
Wood.
Shawshank
Did I call
Redemption.
Dude.
Old boy.
Old boy?
Old boy.
Old boy.
Old boy.
Nice.
Sick. I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, this movie's sick.
Never seen it.
You never seen
Oh,
Old
damn.
Boy?
No.
Oh, you're in for a ride.
Have you seen the new Old Boy?
The one with Josh Brolin?
You seen any Old Boy?
Never
No Old
seen
Boy?
it.
Oh, cool.
Any
Cool,
Old Boy.
cool.
Watch
Nice.
we're watching the Korean one, not the Josh Brolin Spike Lee one.
Damn.
Yeah.
Is that why it says Korean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Sick.
Watch it dub.
I don't know if they have a dub version.
Oh, fuck. I'm sure they do.
I'd watch it in Korean personally, but
Yeah, I'll watch it in Korean.
all right. So we got Old Boy. This is one of the 3 in the Vengeance trilogy. All right, guys. So thank you for joining us this week as we covered the 1982 film Season of the Witch. This has been a long overdue recording. It took us God knows how many failed attempts to get to this point, but we finally did it. I changed my mind a little bit on the movie. I do think it's better than I originally saw. So yeah, solid viewing this time. Definitely left the film less angry. And then next week, join us as we cover Old Boy, the 2003 Korean film. Great movie. Has some awesome cinematography and a kind of a crazy story. So I'm excited to cover it. It'll be Twan's first viewing. So I always love to get Twan's opinion on foreign films. Just a quick reminder, if you guys want to help support the pod, you can donate by clicking the donation tab at the bottom of each episode. But if you can't donate, that's totally cool. We love making the pod. We love joining you guys every week to talk about movies. If you haven't done so already, give us a follow on our social medias. We are on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X/Twitter, Threads, and Facebook. As always, I have been your host, The Dale, followed by my two co-hosts, Mr. Saya.
Adios.
And Twan.
Illinois is the pumpkin capital of the United States.
Sick.
Oh.
See you later, guys.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.